Welcome to week 1, types of graph and graphing. A couple of you mentioned that you wanted to review types of graph and graphing, so I made a little activity for us to review that. So let me go to this module. Just a reminder, all of your materials will be in these modules. So go ahead and click module, go down to types of graph and graphing, week 1. This introduction will be this intro video that you're watching. And so I'll just go through this, what's expected of you, I'll kind of walk through it so you know what's up. I found a TikTok about basic graphs, which I thought was pretty fitting. So also I found this meme of different functions as portrayed on the horns of animals. So I don't know, bulls, cows. Y'all probably know better than me. If you know, let me know. Okay, so every module that I'll post with content, I'll have a content page. So this content is basic functions. And I'll post videos, so a couple YouTube videos that I found that were pretty good. And I'll either create them or I'll find good resources that I think pass my test of being well explained. So I'll have videos and I'll have text, so you can choose to watch or you can choose to read. I'm okay with either. You don't have to use every resource. This is just for you to review and see what you know and what you need to learn. So there's videos, there's text, Math is Fun is a good resource, and then this text resource. And then I'll have an active practice link, so some sort of interactive, you answer questions, get immediate feedback from it. So go ahead, choose which resources you would prefer to learn the basic functions with. Basic functions are like y equals x, that's a line, linear, y equals x squared, parabola, y equals x cubed, those kinds of things, square root, absolute value. So that's to review that skill. And then this next one, so your activity for this week will be to create a picture on Desmos. So to do that, you need to know the basic functions and how to manipulate the basic functions to look and to be in certain spots on the graph where you want them to be. So here's a couple more videos. I have some questions here just kind of guide you. Use Desmos to help you out. So a couple videos to watch, some text resources, and some active practice again. Again, you can choose which resources work best for you and your learning. You don't have to use them all, but you definitely can. It's not going to hurt you. Okay, so next, you're going to be using Desmos for this. You can create an account in Desmos to save your work. So I believe I'm already signed in. Yeah, so it'll be right here. It'll say either log in or sign up. If you have an account, log in. If you don't, go ahead and hit sign up, because then you can save your graphs. So for example, I haven't saved this graph, but I have a whole bunch of saved graphs, like bouncing wagon curve, for example. And then you can open it back up and view it at later times. So that's helpful. Let's see, where were we? So to do this in Desmos, here, let me open up my example actually so I can kind of show you what I mean when I say restricting the domain and range. Where's my running person? Okay. So what I mean by restrict the domain and range, domain refers to how far your x goes in a function. How far the y goes is called the range. So, for example, this first function is y equals absolute value of x over 2 plus 2, outside of the brackets, plus 2, which is this little leg right here. And then you see these curly bracket. Goes from negative 6 is less than x is less than negative 2. That means I want this absolute value function to go from this line, which is negative, or from this point, negative 6, and I only want it to go from negative 6 to negative 2. So from here to here, and no more. See what happens if I don't have this. The line just goes on forever, because absolute value has an infinite domain. So when I add this in, curly bracket, negative 6 is less than x, is less than negative 2. Sorry, I have a cat in here. Okay. Then we restrict the domain of this function, so it only goes to certain points. This will help you decide where to put these functions. What also might be helpful for you is adding sliders, if you know what those are. So for example, this one, if I didn't know how high I wanted to make this leg, I could put a slider here, for example, like the letter A. And then Desmos will say add slider, yes. And that will allow you to move this around and pick the right point where you want that to be. So I want this to be exactly right here, which means that this A value has to be 2. So I can go ahead and change this A to a 2. That's where I want it to be, because I want the leg to connect to the body. Yeah, and that's that. That was a super quick explanation. If you have any other questions about sliders or how to restrict the domain and range, ask me, email me, and I can create a longer video for the group. And here's a video to restrict the domain and range as well. Anyways, I added, this is my example that I created. The rest were created by other people on Desmos, not me. We got Pikachu, we got We Bare Bears, Hello Kitty, Taipei, a chicken thing, and a really extravagant boat. So after you go through the content and learn more about functions, go ahead and create your own picture in Desmos. Be creative. See what you can do. Doesn't have to be as complicated as that boat or anything, but have fun with it. When you're done, screenshot it and go ahead and put it in this thread. So hit reply, and then if you hit this little picture, embed image, you can choose the image from your computer. If you go over to Canvas and hit upload file, you can upload that file. You have to click on My Files first. Then upload the file from your computer, and then it'll go ahead and embed it right in the thread, which is great. Let's see. And then after this discussion, comment on your peers' posts as well. Say, hey, that looks great. You did a really good job with this. I don't know. Just check out what other people are creating. And then when you're done, write down 3 things that you learned here, or patterns that you found. It could be, I learned how to use sliders in Desmos, or I learned about this function, or I found this pattern that if you add something at the end of the equation, it moves it up and down. Whatever you learned. Find 3 things, and then comment on your peers' learning. Say, oh, I learned that too, or I didn't even notice that, but now I know. So, talk to each other, communicate, and be creative, and have fun. So that's this assignment. Next week we'll do radicals. That's that for this week. So let me know what questions you have. Go ahead and post them in our discussion thread by going up here and going to discussions, or email me. I'm available to help you during the day. So let me know what you need, and I'm looking forward to seeing your creations.